Guys, take a look at this beautiful pistachio ice cream. And it is made the right way. In a bowl, simply. The way any chef makes a good quality ice cream. Well, howdy folks, welcome back to Texas Cooking Today. On this episode, we're making ice cream. Now, this is a fun and easy thing to do. It doesn't require a machine, okay? Hey, look, you're gonna have kids and grandkids out of school pretty soon. There's gonna be people looking for something cool and enjoyable for the summertime. So take a look at this. It doesn't take a machine, all right? It just takes a couple of bowls. It still uses ice and salt though. We're doing it the old-fashioned way, but we're doing it the way a chef would do it. So I'll tell you what, come over this way. Let's look at these yummy, delicious ingredients, and let's get busy making a simple, humble, and fabulous tasting ice cream. Come on over. Now guys, let's take a look what we have here. This is really simple. This is something you don't have to have. It's just some salt. If your nuts are not salted, you'll need just a little pinch of salt. I don't like using salted nuts normally when making ice cream, but in this case I had no choice. It was all I could find. So, and I've used these before for this very recipe. They don't have too much salt, so I find them just wonderful for this. So, normally a quarter of a teaspoon of this, but we don't need it today. Now, on this recipe, this is about basic and simple, and it's inexpensive. This is 3 cups of half and half. We're going to use 1 teaspoon of almond extract and a half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. I have here 3/4 of a cup of pistachios. And these are whole pistachios that have been salted and roasted, and they're just perfect for this kind of a dish. I have right here 1/3 of a cup of granulated sugar. You can use white sugar for this, or I'm using a little more raw version of a sugar. It works either way, guys. Now, as I told you, it doesn't take a machine, and it doesn't take a whole lot of time. This isn't something that's difficult. You don't have to have a freezer. Now, right back here, guys, we have what you're gonna need, and this is a bit of salt. You're gonna need rock salt for this. Table salt will work also. I'm using some that's a little bit on the blue side so that you can see it easier. Normally that stuff just comes as clear, but whatever you find should work just fine for this. You're going to need a couple of bowls, and of course, plenty of ice. Now, I've got ice cubes, because you know normally I keep those around, so I just broke out some bags and started filling them up the other night. You'll need 2 bowls, something to stir the mixture with. I'm going to use a whisk. You can use a spoon or just the spatula that you have. A spatula works really good for this. Reason being, guys, unless the tongs on your whisk are really strong, the spatula works good because as the cream starts freezing against the side of this inner bowl, you're going to pull it free with your spatula. And it's hard for a whisk to do that. It starts to bend it. So that's what we're doing, is we're putting our brine solution in here and our mixture in here for the ice cream, and we're going to produce ice cream. And I'm going to do it right here on screen for you. You're going to see it step by step. This is so easy to do, and it is so fun. So I'll tell you what, like I said, if you got kids, let's get them together, get all this stuff going, and let's have some fun with this. First thing I need to do is get the ingredients ready to go, processed. And that means breaking up some of those nuts so I can get this made. Now guys, I like lots of big nuts in my ice cream, but I don't want just whole nuts. I want there to be some fragments also. And reason being is those fragments release a lot of flavor. So I'm going to seal these up
in a Ziploc bag, and I'm just going to use a skillet and break them up. Now, if you want to use a chopper to do this, that's fine. You know, they have nut choppers. But frankly, guys, you don't have to spend the money for those if you don't already have one. When this works okay. There. Now, look at this. Lots of bits and pieces and fragments, and lots of them are really, really big. Okay, so that's just perfect for me. Broken down just enough. Even a few whole ones still left. Well, guys, in order to make ice cream, you have to produce a very, very cold environment. Now, let me explain to you what we're doing here. When it came to the Fahrenheit scale of measuring temperatures, the way they came up with a baseline, or the way Mr. Fahrenheit came up with a baseline, was to take salt and ice in equal measures by weight and mix them together. And when you mix those two together, you will get a temperature of 0 degrees, very, very cold. I'm not looking for 0, but you know, somewhere between 20 to 10 degrees, preferably around 15 degrees, is just fine for making ice cream. So the way we do that is you get ice to melt faster than it should. The faster that ice goes, or that water goes from a solid state to a liquid, the colder it gets. So you're trying to accelerate how fast it melts. So we're going to start with some ice, and I'm going to put my salt all over it. Now this is just the start. Okay, I'm going to give that a bit of time and a bit more ice. What I'm looking for is a melting condition. I'm looking for a lot of melt, a lot of really fast melt. So there we go. It's just a matter of patience. Let's get on with mixing up the cream and the ingredients. Our cream and ingredients right here, guys. So very, very easy, isn't this? You didn't think it was going to be this simple, did you? There is our half and half. Now, if you want to do this with actual whole cream, this recipe works with that. Or if you want to split it between half and cream or whatever, that's cool. If you want to go lighter on it, you know, like with milk, that works also. The thing of it is my recipes, I like to make them really flexible. The next thing, our sugar. We need something to mix this stuff together with, guys. Beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and put my nuts down in this. And there, without extract or anything, is that fabulous pistachio flavoring that cream. Now, if you don't want to use extracts at this point, this recipe works, okay? But I find the extracts that I put in there to make this so rich and full and delicious that it is almost irresistible to eat it. First thing, we're going to be using 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. Now, I'm picky about my vanilla. I like using vanilla from Mexico. Frankly, Mexicans make better vanilla than Americans. Sorry if that doesn't sound patriotic, but the truth is, they're just better at vanilla, guys. You know, we don't have a patent on everything. And that was 1 teaspoon of the almond extract. Oh, yeah. The flavors right there are unbelievable, guys. Let's get that all mixed well. At this point, it's a matter of how cold can I get my cream mixture. So that's the reason we're doing the brine solution that we made in that other bowl. Remember all that ice and salt? So I'm giving that some time, Now when I put my cream mixture down in this, then I'm going to turn on my timer, and I'm going to set this thing for 1 hour is what I'll do. And we're going to make the ice cream, and we'll see how much time is left over when I'm finished making the ice cream. In the past, when I've done this, most of the times I do it, it takes me around 30 minutes to produce a really good quality ice cream. All right, guys, look at this. Isn't that beautiful? Now, while I'm waiting for my melt to occur here, if you want to put this in a very cold environment, that's a real smart thing to do. Give it a head start. I'm going to agitate this just a little. The idea there is to get as much of that salt coating the ice as absolutely possible. Remember, this is about how fast you can get the ice to melt. The faster that melts, the colder the environment that we create becomes. Now guys, if you think you're going to be able to rush this situation, you're not. This takes the amount of time it takes, okay? You can speed it up to its maximum, which is, like I said, equal amounts. But you're going to have a difficult time working your cream as it starts to chill it too much against the sides. So like I said, we're trying to get a balance here, and usually it's around 15 degrees is the perfect temperature to make ice cream. When making ice cream, the reason we go through the trouble of doing the system of doing a brine solution with something in the middle that the cream is then mixed in while it is freezing, the reason we do that is to produce a light and fluffy state. Now the French would make ice cream with eggs. That's not the way the Americans do it, right? American ice cream does not use eggs at all, as you see here in this recipe. And it's a very, to me, it seems to be the right way of doing it. Why do I need a chicken in my ice cream? I really don't, okay? So the egg doesn't really belong in there in my view, okay? Some people will argue that, blue in the face with me, saying it makes it so much richer and fuller and lighter and this, that, and the other. Or, yeah, it changes a little bit, but frankly, I just want iced cream, okay? Period. Let's not make this hard. This is easy. So the thing of it is, a little bit of time here. This is already starting to melt nicely. I have another bag of that ice in the freezer. So you're going to need a good amount of ice. Usually about 5 pounds is a good start on that, 5 to 10 pounds. So it's a matter of time here. And as soon as I get water starting to come up on the sides here from the ice melt, then I'll put more ice in there and more salt, and we'll put that bowl with the cream in there, and that's when I start stirring it. And that's when the fun really begins, guys. It's not a hard thing to make ice cream. It's just something you sit around and kind of mix while it gets colder and colder and stiffer and stiffer. And the mixing part's important. You have to keep turning it, mixing it. Like I said, that makes it fluffy, that makes it light as it expands and freezes. So it's really cool. Now, patience. Patience. Okay guys, you know when I was telling you how it gets so much colder as the ice melts, and I haven't added anything to this. I have my thermometer here. It's been sitting in my hand, so it's reading a little bit higher than room temperature. However, it's coming down to room temperature. So my thermometer right here, that's reading 77.3 and it's dropping. I'm about to plunge it down into this ice bath, and we're going to read the temperature down in there. And that's set to Fahrenheit, by the way. Okay, it's down to 4.7, 4.3, 3.6. So as you can see, temperature dropping. I have an extremely cold water solution here. Now at this point, because it is so cold in there, I have created such a wonderfully beautiful chilly condition, I can start adding a little bit of water to accelerate the whole process if I wish. That way I can kind of get on with making some ice cream. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a little bit of water in there. And I'm not going to put hot water, it's just going to be cold. That's perfect. Now the reason I need the water is when I put my other bowl in this, I need liquid to come up on the side of the bowl to create a chilly condition. Now this is a little bit cold at first, and it'll warm up. Don't worry about that, guys. But I'll tell you what, that is a beautiful start. And it's also a good demonstration of exactly what I was telling you about the Fahrenheit scale. We are at 1.8 degrees on the Fahrenheit scale. Guys, that is mighty chilly. But that is how the temperature of 0 is obtained. Equal amounts of ice and salt. And boom, you get this really cold setup. 1.6, oh goodness. I'm going to go ahead and place this down in here. And it's probably not going to be agreeable with me, so I'm going to have to kind of move things around a little. There we go. I have this exposed ice up here, and I'm still wanting to create a nice cold condition. So I'm going to start adding in salt again. Now this is a time when you have to be very careful about this, guys. You do not want any of that salt getting into your ice cream. It'll taint it, it'll ruin it, okay? So let's be very, very careful, very gentle. This is where we take our time, we don't get in a rush, because we don't want things going upended on us. Okay, now all I'm gonna have to do is just stir this occasionally, and I'm going to add a little more water to my lower bowl to create a little more of a kind of a slushy kind of condition. Okay, as I mentioned before, now that we have it all on ice, I said that we were going to time how long it really takes to make this happen. And it has just the very beginning of the beginning. I wish that was a little lower. And in a minute I'll work it till it does. As that ice melts some more, this will work out fine. So let's start my timer. This is 1 hour, start. And I'm just going to put this guy right back here in the corner. And we're going to let it run, and that way, because there's going to be times when I shut down the camera, you know, because hey, it's only so exciting to sit here and watch grass grow, right? So we're gonna kind of time lapse this just a little bit. And what I'm doing is spinning both while pushing down on this center bowl just a little. Now guys, you want to be careful as you do this, because as the ice melts more and more, this bowl is going to be willing to dip down deeper into that mixture of brine solution, and you don't want that spilling over the edge and getting into your ice cream. Again, that brine will ruin that ice cream, so keep it out of it. Now, as I said, the way a professional would make ice cream quickly in a small batch, and this is about as large of a small batch as you'd want to do, a 3-cup batch. Reason being is, as I said before, this stuff swells. As it freezes, we're going to see it come up on the side of this bowl, and it's going to fill it up a lot more than it is now. And that's just the characteristics of when liquids go from a liquid to more of a solid state. They expand, guys. Those molecules push apart. That's what we're doing. We're getting our molecules to push apart. Okay, I've put my thermometer back in my brine again. Let's take a look at that temperature, guys. Looky there. That looks like it's around 13 degrees. So now we're actually operating at a reasonable temperature here. This is a good temperature to make ice cream at. The important thing is occasionally, and that's about once every 2 minutes at least, just gently stir and then let it set. Now guys, I've put my thermometer in the cream mixture itself, and I'm reading 28.8 degrees. So, 29, floating right in there, okay? This is good. It means it's getting colder, and I'm starting to feel a little bit of freezing on the edges, okay, as I stir this. And that's fine. Just occasionally stir it and keep breaking those ice crystals free from the edge of the bowl, and that's going to help the rest of it to develop and grow. Now let's take a look at our timer there. It says 52. So we've been doing this, okay, 51, 9 minutes now. And it's starting to thicken and ice up on the edge. So I'm going to have to start using my spatula next to make this work. Now guys, it hasn't been very long. Let's look at our timer first. We'll zoom in here. That has been 46. Okay, so it hasn't been that long, 14 minutes now. Now, this right here, I'm going to zoom in just a bit so you can kind of see this. Let me pull back just enough. It's starting to thicken. I'm getting ice crystals to form. See here? See how it's thick up on the edge there? Isn't that cool? So I'm getting that thickening effect already, and it's getting hard for me to stir the ingredients on the edge. So what I'm going to have to do is stop using my my whisk, and I'm going to switch over to my spatula. Now my spatula has actually for a little bit now been in my freezer. And something else that I'm doing here that I want you guys to take a note of, and this is a real important step. As I am mixing this, while I'm turning it and stirring it, see how it's starting to raise up? I pull this bowl to the edge of the bowl with the brine bath in it, and I put the lip over the edge of it like this. And that way, as I pull this bowl inward this way, I don't have to worry about this lip dropping down. If I'm gentle and careful, it'll stay right there. I keep a light pressure on this upper bowl. Boy, it is freezing up good and quick now. So look at that. We are making ice cream, guys. Bet you didn't know it was going to be that simple. So it's starting to take on a very thick, soupy mixture in the middle and getting those ice crystals throughout. And we're only, just like I said, a few minutes in. Right now it's 16 minutes in. Look at that. It says 44. All right, again, that timer says 42. It's going to be changing to 41 in a moment. Right down here, my mixture. Yeah, see, it's getting hard to break from the edge. I'm having to bend my tines to pull it up. So I am switching over to my spatula now. As I said, I had this in my freezer, quite on purpose. So you can see we're breaking shape on top of this, which means since it's now starting to begin to hold its shape a little bit, that means it's really freezing. Let's get a different angle and better view on this. There we go, guys. Now my timer says 40. Let me pull it up this way. Boom, 40, okay? See how that freezing is happening? Isn't that just too cool? So what I do is I stir it 2 minutes, stir it, wait 2 minutes, and we just keep doing that over and over again, okay? Be patient with this. Now let's get some temperature readings on all of that. For my temperature readings first, because I don't want to transfer my brine to my cream, and I have a temperature here in this room, or on this thermometer at least, around 68 degrees. Maybe the room is slightly warmer. When I plunge it down in this, 28.3 degrees. Let's see what my brine solution is. So around 17 and a half to 18 degrees on that brine solution, okay? 17.8, 26, it's just kind of floating around in there. So we're running a good temperature. Like I said, you're looking for temps between about 20 to 10 degrees. The colder end of that's going to make this happen a little faster. So what I'm going to do is add a little bit more ice and salt, and that way it'll bring that temperature back down. There, I have a nice, keep a couple of bags of ice cubes around just for making ice cream, right? Actually, I don't do that, but I was pre-planning for this, and I didn't want to go out and just buy ice when I've got a freezer that freezes water just fine. In the event that the water in the outer bowl gets too high, what we call the water jacket, if that water gets too high, that brine solution, take a little bit of it out. Take a cup of water out of there to compensate for what you're putting in. The idea there is you don't want it getting up too high and causing you difficulties, okay? You don't want it getting close to getting in your ice cream. Put a little bit of this salt over the top of that, and I can watch my temperature fall. My thermometer's come back up again, so let's plunge it back down in that ice bath and see what we're getting. There we go. As I told you, we could drop that temperature again with a bit of an adjustment. I'm at 14.8 degrees and falling. So So there's my adjustment, and I will speed up that freezing process in doing that. Now guys, my timer says 33, probably going to change in a minute, but yeah, it says 33. We're approaching quickly that 30-minute mark. Our ice cream has got a little bit of pooling on top. So what I'm going to do, now it's getting really frozen in some spots. So what I need to do is start rotating my bowl more frequently, and I'm going to have to stir it about once every minute. Because now it's getting thick and it's expanding. Isn't that nice? Okay, and what does our timer up there say? Let's take a close look at that, folks. Ooh, looks like we're at 28 minutes in, okay? I'm going to be able to get this thicker. It's going to take a little longer than 30 minutes to really get it nice and truly thick. But as you can see, hey, this is how you make ice cream, guys. Don't be afraid of it. Jump into it. Have a little fun with it. And any ice cream recipe will work for this. All you have to do is just reduce it down to a 3-cup proportion. And what I'll do to make it a little easier, I'm going to do a few more ice cream recipes, and we'll put out the correct proportions for you to make really good tasting, high quality ice cream right there at home. Low cost, good to eat, fun for the kids. It's great for everybody. Now guys, my timer just hit 30 minutes. Okay, so I'm 30 minutes in. Do we have a fully frozen product here? Essentially, yes. Okay, it's a soft serve ice cream at this point. I like my ice cream just a little bit firmer than that, so I'm going to give it some more time. But one thing I know is for sure, nobody has any fear of making ice cream now. So as you see, what I'm doing is I'm kind of accelerating this process a little bit. I'm pushing this center bowl down into my brine, allowing any of the pooling cream to hit the bottom where it's going to be coldest, allowing the upper sides of this inner bowl to get colder, accelerating the freezing process is what I'm doing. And it is getting thicker. This is the point where you have to be very careful not to get that brine up into your ice cream. It's easy to push it down in there and have that slosh over the edge. So at this point, this is where I would recommend, if you're going to keep chilling this in your brine, to remove some of that liquid. That's exactly what I'm going to do right now. I'll pull out a couple of cups of this. The ice I'll just transplant right back in there. Now guys, let's look back there. That timer says it's at 25. Yeehaw, we are cooking with gas. And look at this. It's starting to get very, very stiff along the outer bowl there. It's freezing hard now. So here we are. We're at 35 minutes in and making, oh boy, homemade ice cream. Folks, let me tell you, you don't, like I said, you don't have a machine. You just have to have your kitchen equipped. You have to have the knowledge and techniques, have a recipe, the proper equipment, and you're ready to go. And proper equipment doesn't mean a $150 machine. It doesn't require all that. The machine takes almost as much effort as this, because you got to sit there and load it and stir it and mix it and work it and all of that. It's the machine doesn't make it that much easier. What I'm doing here is just kind of making it light and fluffy, and it is. It's much lighter now. That brought it up in temperature slightly. Now let's take a look at those temperatures again now that we are 26 minutes in. 27 degrees, 26.6 degrees on my cream. My brine, around 18 degrees, let's just call it that. So we're back up to our 18-degree brine. Our mixture is freezing beautifully. And at this point, this is where I suggest to you, Go ahead and put this right up in your freezer if you have one. Otherwise, hey, you've got a beautiful soft serve. You can work this down a little more, chill it a little more, get this outer water jacket a little colder, down to about 5 degrees, and you'll finish up the final chill on that if you want to keep doing this. So I'd say pour out some water, add a little more of your ice, a little more salt, and suddenly this mixture is going to turn really hard really fast right there in your ice jacket. Wow, gosh, it's getting thick. All right. Well, guys, there it is. Pistachio ice cream. Beautiful and exciting. Tell you what, pull this out of this ice jacket. Look at this. That, ooh, that's the real thing, guys, right there. Hot dog. Now, my timer, believe it or not, is still running. Timer says 15 minutes. I say, I think I want a little pistachio ice cream. Excellent. Guys, so much better than what you can buy at the store. Dead on perfect. No. I gotta finish my pistachios. Guys, this has been fantastic and fun. Thank you. Thank you so very much for watching this show. To my subscribers, guys, I would like to say an extra special thank you to you and cheers. Now, if you haven't subscribed, guys, please do. Just click the bell down there, and that way I can also inform you when my new shows come out. Now, if you would please, as I say, subscribe. Please share my videos. Please click like. I would really appreciate that. And one other thing, I've started another channel. It's called Chef Trotters Tips. There's some really cool stuff on there. Some information you might not expect. So give that a try. Take a look at it. You might like it. And well, thanks for visiting. You guys have a good day. Bye-bye.